So hello everyone. So after a very long time, I guess there will be there are 5 to 6 day. After 5 to 6 day, I am uploading the next video in our Ultimate Java course. So yeah, because I have some work to done, and now we are going to in this today's lecture till this point what we cover all the basics of in the Java, like we cover data, what is how to write how to use println, how to write output, how to read input from the user, how to what is data type, and then we see what is array, then we also explore that string class, and then we cover function, and in the function we cover recursion part. So till this point we cover most all the basics of in the Java. So if you do not watch that past video, so I highly recommend you to start the watching video from the first lecture only, because in that way you will learn more and you will understand more. And if you are coming for in this video for just learning exception in Java, so here we are going, let's just start what is exception. So before exception, uh, let's just discuss what is the difference between error and exceptions. And like here you can see that assume that this is one chart and this is two arrow, then here I have two arrow and this is example. So in the Java we have one throwable. They just give the norm throwable whenever some unaccepted thing happen in our program. So right now just assume that it is called throwable, and throwable, by the way, in the class in the Java. So we will discuss in the next video itself. We are going to start with oops. So be with me right now. Just remember throwable is a class, and in that class we have two type of unaccepted behavior in our program will happen. One is error and another one is exception. So one of the the basic difference between error and exception is that, like, error is a phenomena which occurs compile time, and exception is a phenomena which occur either runtime or either compile time. And the error is morely focused on the syntax of the programming language. So let's just create our first error. So I hope if you are coding in Java or any other, error is something like we are familiar with. Like here, if I am writing like system dot out dot println is my function, and here let's say I am printing 12. So here you can see that my compiler itself showing me that here I have to put something because there is there right. But for our understanding purpose, let's just run, and after running, you can see that our Java code is not compiling. Either it's showing like unaccepted, either syntax error. Here you can see that we have syntax error because it is error, not exception. So if I am writing this, then it will print all things are compiled and our output is shown in the console, and or you can say that terminal. So this all about errors. Like error is something which occurred at the runtime. Like we have to follow syntax. Like here, if I am writing, let's say my data type ABC data type A equal to 12, so it is not exception, it is error, because the language itself, language knows that there is nothing type of this ABC, not any data type, not any class. So I have to know, I will not compile your program and I will show you that error, because which error you are getting. So it is showing that ABC is not any data type or not any class. So we will discuss class, but basically it is error, because here you can see that our code is compiling but our dot class file is not generated because we are getting that error. So this is all about error. What is error? I hope you can understand. And in the brief, you can assume that error is something which occurs because of syntax problem in our program. And every language has that specific rule about syntax, like which type of syntax we are going to use. So yeah, this is all about errors. And here, if I'm writing int, so language knows, okay, int is the data type, so we can write that. And now if I'm running, so it is compiled and show us the output. So this is all about errors. So then what is exception? Exception. What is exception? So exception is something which will occur either runtime or either compile time. But in a compile time, it just showing that it will show in the compile type, but actually after execute file and when our program runs, then it will show. And let me just show you what is this runtime exception. So let's just define our exception. exception is unwanted behavior of our program. Let me just behavior of our program. So in brief, exception is something is something which happened in runtime happened something which is executed sometimes, so not some solution, sometime. Here varieties, exception is something which here exceptions are okay. So this is all about the definition part. If you want to see in the Wikipedia page, so let me just show you that Wikipedia page also. So let me just close all of this and just write Wikipedia exception. By the way, exception is also one movie, so yes, it's showing me the movie. We want in programming what is exception. So yes, it is exception handling. Here you can see that in the language mechanism for exception handling, the term exception is typically used for a specific sense of denote a data structure, sorting information about the invokes and a programming language mechanism, add an exceptional conditional once. So it is very high level definition, I guess. I'll just read this one line again. In programming language mechanism for exception handling, the term exception is typically used to specify sense to denote the data structure, storing information about an exception conditional. So it's saying that what I tell you, that in our program if something unwanted happen and our program will break, so and we do not want to run our program because that condition will occur, so our program will terminate by that condition. So it is called exception. And exception handling is a process for use to handle this type of exception. So let me just close this and let's just see what is exception. So let me let's just divide two numbers, system.out.println a divided by 0. So here you can see that a equal to 12. Here you can see that our system, here we can clearly see that our program will run fine, because here there is not any syntax problem here, and I am dividing a by 0 open. At compile time, program do not execute, it just compile that program into the binary format. So if I run it, you can see our program is run fine, but we get one exception. Now here you can see that after running we are getting that exception. And if I want to show you that our program is run, I will print something here. I am running, run. Let's just be quick here because this will be very lengthy. This video is become very this video will very lengthy, so we do not want to waste our time. So here you can see that our program run, but then we are getting that exception. What is the exception name? Arithmetic exception, and the specification is divided by 0, because as we know, if we divide any number with 0, we get infinity. So here Java throw that exception, because we do not want to run that code below that line, because that line is corrupted in our program, because a divided by 0 is infinity in our Java compiler do not want to run program further. So it is called runtime exception. Here you can see that error index out of bind exception. So what we covered throwable, we see what is error, we see what is exception, and then we see what is runtime exception. And there is another one, runtime exception, which occurs when we work with array. If you all know, let me just create an array, and here I have to, if you do not this is a static representative. Here you're also passing and values in bracket format, and here by default what will be the array size. Yes, what will be the array size? Array size will be 3. And here if I want to access remit 5 3, so I will get one runtime exception. What is the exception name here? The name of exception is array index out of bound. So I hope you understand what is runtime exception. Then what is compile time exception? Like what I am tell you in the starting of the video, error is something which occur at compile time, and here also exception is also type of compile type exception. And that's because of why this is happening. In brief, when we learn class inside an object, then you will understand better. But right now, let's say I am creating one buffer reader object, buffer, and if you remember buffer reader, let me just quick make that program. How to pass input stream object here, new new input stream, and here we have to pass the system routing variable and just run. I want to see and just run. And here, yes, let me just comment this. Okay, let's just run. Be with me, there is no error. We will create the error. So let me just rename any string value. So string s. Now I have object of buffer reader, and I am going to call that read line. Let me just call that read function. Oh no, I have to call read line, and here we will print that as string. And here you can see that there is not any compile time error, because we know that read line is a function in a buffer reader. Then what problem is here? So let's just run. Again, you can see that our program is not compiled, and what is showing that there is an reported exception. Java IO exception must be catch or declared by throw. Okay, so this is how I can explain you side. Let's just assume buffer reader one class and read line, and I hope I am audible, and read line is one function, but internally that function may throw one custom exception. That exception name is IO exception. The when in the top in our main or any other function, we are calling that function, and if we have to somehow handle that exception in our program also, because this is the way how exception chaining will work. So here what that error suggests, either you can throw that exception in your function call or in your function, like here in main function, or you can use try catch. So first of all, let's just see what compiler suggests to us. So this IDE suggests me that add method to signature. So let me guess. So here you can see that it create one throws IO exception. Now if I run this, and you can see that all compiling things are done. And see, again, this is not compiler error. This is Java class function will throw an custom exception, and we have to handle that exception in our program. So, and how we can do that? We have to throw that exception here, and let's say there are many inbuilt exception are happening in our main function, so we have to throw all of them. So I hope I am only thing. Yes, this is all about compile except. If you do not understand, be with me when we learn try catch and throw will under better, because here you can see that we use throws keyword. We will see. Let me just show you what is try catch then. So till this point we see what is exception, what is error, and that stuff, all the stuff. Now let's just head over to our second we have to handle our exception handle, and we have to handle our exception. So handle the exception, or we want, okay, this if exception is generated, so don't stop my program, but just keep that part which you are going to use that variable or that functionality. let's say I am putting the a equal to 12 divided by 0. Here all you can see that here there will be a runtime exception, and here I am printing that a system dot out dot println. So so here I'm using try, and in the try I have to write which part I have to run. So here println, I have to run a divided by 0, and then I have to print that a. And here you can see that there is one first rule syntax try catch says that if you are writing try block, then there should be one catch block also. Like here I have to write catch e, and here I have to pass which type of error or exception you are getting. So right now we are making this more general, like I am getting what we error get, what error we get. So right now just type exception, we get one exception, we do not know what this exception is, but we are going to print dot out dot ln, and here we are going to pass that e, and here I have to pass it. All things are working fine, and then let me just system dot out dot println 0, system dot out dot println run. Now as we know that here one custom exception will be generated, runtime exception will generate, and this exception is arithmetic divided by 0. But as we are catching this, so our program will not break at that point. So here you can see that first of all our program start to run, and then they created one exception, or one exception happened divided by 0. But after this our 0 also printed, like here our 0 also, just make more general, and here run. And now if I run it, yep, you can see that run, print that exception. And what happen if there is not any exception? Like here I have tell, then our a will be printed, then n will be printed. Yep, so this is a basic behavior of try catch, and you can have many catches. Like here I am making more general, like any type of exception. Exception is one of the main class, and all the smaller exception are going to inherit from that class or extend that class. So right now we do not run oops, so we are just focusing on exception e, because we are going to handle that only. And here you have to just change name. Like here if I'm with the arithmetic exception, here you can see that I have arithmetic exception, and if I run it this, so again my program is running fine, there is not any problem. If I have 0, then it will show me that is the arithmetic exception. But if I'm handling that array index out of bound exception here, like array index out of bound, where is my array index, array here. So here you can see that there is exception which name is divided by 0 and arithmetic exception. But here I am handling the okay, if in that try catch, if there is array index out of bound exception, then only catch, otherwise throw that or terminate that program. So here you can see that our program is terminated. This is all about basics, and right now do not focus in that. You can in the website you can see that other custom exception or runtime exception Java providers, but right now this is our basic setup of try catch. And here you can have any inner nesting also, like here also I can use try, and then I can just do something. Let's just create one array here of size 1, 2, and here I can write system dot out dot println arr of 3, and here let's just make our exception will not occur. So here you can see that again. Let's just first see what happened. Let's just run. Here you can see that try without catch, because and there is another block name is finally we will learn. We will see in the we will see in just in a second. So here I have to catch. Let's just for that guy I'm assuming that there is only arithmetic exception will happen here, but in the program you can see that there is array index out of bound exception. Let's just print ln and t ln e right now. So what will happen? Do you think our program will terminate? Let's just run. Our program is not terminating, because by default how this try catch works, if I am an internal try catch, so first of all this try catch part will work, and okay, this is fine, then it will go till here. If there is one error here only, then it will go in this case. It is very basic understand. Then here I have try, and here add index out of but exception will happen. So this try catch try block will see first if I have one catch which will handle this type of exception. But right now here you can see that only error in arithmetic exception are handled, so it will go outer if I am in I have another track outside me. Oh yes, so if this try is catching my mat exception, yes, you can consider it because it's global exception name class. So okay, so this is the exception, and also I am the sub children of that exception array index of the bound. So here my answer will be. So in the nesting part, just remember first try, then it will check that if this try is handling this type of exception, not, then go to its parent. If that parent not, then go to its parent. And after all that try is finished, and if none of catch are handling this type of exception, then just throw and terminate our program. So this is all about nesting. And then we have again finally block here. Finally name suggests like no matter what type of exception handle or what type of behavior in a program, finally block will be executed. So here you can see that GL will be printed, and here let me just make it again array type, because here array index out of bound exception happen because but we do not handle it anywhere. But here you can see that GL will be printed, then our exception will be thrown. So finally something, no matter what your exception will happen or what type of error you get, finally execute every time. So this is all about try catch. I hope I'm able to understand, make the sense of this try catch. And yes, so this is all about basic of try catch. And then after try catch, there is two keyword are in the throw. Other one is throws and one is throw. Unlike in throws, throws its name suggests if internally which function we are calling or which method we are using in another class, if this class that class will create one custom exception, so we have to handle this. So either we can throws in our function body or function declaration, or we can now we can see that we have try catch functionality with us. So let's just type try, and here just let me just uncomment that buffer reader object, and now in try I am going to read system s equal to br dot read line, and here I am printing that system dot println s, and here I have to use, okay, all things are set up. Let's just catch what exception we are getting in that we have I exception e. We are just printing that exception system dot out dot println e. Yes, you can see that our error will goes, and if I'm run, everything should run fine because we handle this. So there are two ways, or you can use throw. Sometime try catch is more suitable than that throw, and because it very like if you are using program, and program will generate custom 20 exceptions, so better to use try catch rather than just throw. And sometime if we like in buffer reader only one exception will throw, then you can throws. And then what is throw keyword? Then there is throws, you can assume that it is one alternative of try catch, but in you have to see what your application is. So then what third part is we cover throw also. We cover throw, and now we are going to see throw. Name suggests we are now let's just create one custom exception. Like here I will say int a equal to 12. Then if my a equal to 10 in program somewhere, then throw. You have to write throw. Then I have to write new keyword. Then I am going to create one exception. The exception name is a is not 12. Then and here else I will print that a. Okay. Here you can see that I am getting one error. Let's just forward. Add exception to method signature. Why? Because this method has to handle our exception, otherwise it will put problem, right? This, and here what will happen You can see that there is one throw and general exception is handled. So you can use either try catch or this type. Let me just show you internal representation of that br.readline rather than just run this. So we will see what we get. We get one runtime exception, that is our exception, and this is message will be printed, and this is our exception name. If the exception is anything name like arithmetic, logical, it depend on your program which type of exception is generated. So yes, and that just understand throws with the help of that br.readline function. So here I have to, and now again it is running fine, because what, IO is a sub children of exception. If I am handle that all exception in just one line, then I do not have to handle that IO exception. It's same as try catch. Like in try catch, we can also handle that arithmetic, or if we can write exception, then all type of exception are handled in that type of catch. So same as that. Like, let me just show you internal representation of this br.readline. Let me just open. Yes, here it is. br.readline internally calling this readline function, again calling. Yep, this is function our, and here internally somehow they are going to throw that IO exception. This is all the reading file and string builder. They are internally using string builder. I'm just looking for where they throw. Okay, they throw IO exception here. Throws. So internally there is some method which will throw exception. Let me just show you. Yes, here it is. You can see that this method will be throw IO exception. Well, we do not enter anything, then it will throw one custom exception. And here, as this method also throw, like this method will throw one custom exception. So we have to throw here, and where how we can go back here then. Let me just open again, and when this readline function will call, let me just open again. Yes, and then so this method will throw one custom exception, name is IO exception, and we have to handle this by here, or you can use try catch. Here they directly throws. So, and whenever we throws, if some, like here if I am writing try catch, then in main function I do not have to actually throw or give to the compiler. It will handle by me, but I'm not want to handle, so I will throw that in my function call, and another function will using me as some functionality. Then that function either have to handle this my exception with the help of try catch, or he also have to throws this exception like we do in our program. So this is all about throws. And again, in quick I will recap all of things. What is exception? Exception is something which will, exception is unwanted behavior of our program. Exception are two types, one is compile type, one is runtime. Runtime is something which will run after compile runtime. Exception are only that will be on the current time only. An error is something which will occur because of the syntax error or syntax problem. And compile type exception are in the programming language. If that program throws one custom exception, so that type of exception are called compile type exception. An example is IO, and here divided by 0. And then we cover try catch, how we can handle any exception thrown by runtime or thrown by in compile time. Then we learn throws. What is throws? If I'm using one function and that function will create one custom exception, so either I have to handle it will by try catch, or if I do not want to handle that, so I will throw in my function call. And then if some other function are using me, then that function I have to do two things, or handle that exception will try catch, or you have to again throws. So this is chaining will look like in throws. In the try catch, if you handle that exception in, like I am handling my try catch at that throws exception, then if someone using me, then that function do not have to implicitly throws or try catch for this exception, because I am handling that exception. And then we cover how to create custom. We have throw keyword for that, and there is an exception class, and we can inherit, we will see in the next video, like there is another way to create a custom exception, but when we complete oops, then we will see, and when we complete oops, then it will very easy you to understand what I am telling at that point. So in the next video we are going to start with oops and try to play with that, this type of exception, and yeah, you're good to go. So thank you for watching, and I will catch up in the next video. Till then, happy Navratri India.